It's Colleen Schmidt from Divination Counseling Service, here to present more on the Janus software. I was going to call it Janus 2, but we're really only looking at two different parts of the menu for Janus. And I was so excited about it, I wanted to jump on here and tell you all about it. Those of you who are sitting on the fence deciding on whether or not you want this particular software, I can tell you that I fully endorse it after what I've seen today. And I actually endorse it over solar fire, over what I've seen today. So I'm going to talk about that. I also want to point out, actually there's two sections. So the first one was the asteroids, just blew me away. There's an interpretation for them all, and you can edit, and we're going to look at that. The second thing we're going to look at is the ability to build midpoints and sums. I can't believe I did a whole video on sums and formulas, and in the Janus program, we can create our own. So I was really excited about that, and I want to show that. So before I jump into the work, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. And I like to especially thank my subscribers, whether it's this YouTube channel or my website. Thank you so much for helping me build this channel. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you would like, comment, I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, I would like to hear from anybody who knows anything about Janus, and particularly how to maybe change fonts. Now, I know I went through everything. I don't think there really is. And I know that now that I've been through this program and I understand a little bit more about it, it does appear that it would be almost impossible to change the font sizes of these asteroids because there's so much packed in to that chart, that one ring. And we're going to look at that in a moment. So let's pull up the Janus chart, and we're going to start working with Janus with the asteroids. And I started here because I really wanted to change the font size, but I'll be honest with you, I'm okay about the fonts now in a way because I found out so much more about the program that just really keyed me up. I just really thought it was great. So I have to share that with you. So let's go and look at it. So here I am, and we're looking at the bazillions of asteroids, and this is where I started, okay? But as I'm playing around with this, I'm recognizing that these asteroids they come up on the pop-up menu. So if I want to know what an asteroid or a trans-Neptunian, that's what I just did, means, I can not only know where I'm looking, but I have a little bit of an interpretation to go with. Okay. I just thought, oh my goodness, everything's in here, everything, which I thought I'm really excited about. So I decided to do a little bit more exploring, and I pulled up an asteroid, and I noticed that once I pull up asteroids, MLW shows up, and I read and I go, oh my goodness, that's Martha. Martha Lang Westcott is a contributor of this software. I'd forgotten about it. I think I knew it, but I had forgotten. So you're going to see when you pop on, and you notice once this is pulled up, the catalog, that all you have to do, when you do the planets, you're also doing chart points, the vertex, also the trans-Neptunians. Chiron is showing up in here. The black moon is here. The equatorial ascendants. I mean, this is just a wonderful, this is just a mine of information. Just like you struck gold or something. And so, and there's your midheaven. So it does chart points. Then when you get to asteroids, and this was really interesting, you will find that they have the centaurs in there with, again, some degree of interpretation, not always in depth. So I was just so excited. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And then I decided to go through some of the asteroids. And then I realized this one, for example, initially it shows up like this. And I'll talk about this. Ornaments, attractive things, or people. Well, notice it doesn't have the MLW. I don't disagree with that, but I don't completely agree with that either. So I started looking at these and started tweaking them. because I thought, wow, what the heck? I'm going to start using this and I'm going to tweak them. And I went in there and I started tweaking. Now we just tweaked, but then when I go back, look, it's back. So I was working with Pythia, which was the other one. And see, you see per ML. So my per MLW is my way of telling me that I did the editing. I added in Martha's interpretation because in particularly Pythia, divination and prophecy is very misleading to what Pythia really means. Pythia is misunderstood signs and inclinations. It's about being almost right, but having faulty projections. It's like you're intuitive. You can feel the situation out. So you think it's going to end a particular way, and then you find out it didn't end that way at all. The outcome wasn't at all what you thought. That's Pythia. So I thought that was misleading. So I went in and I kept putting this in here, and it kept going away. Okay, so I said to myself, okay, where do I go? So here is where you'll find your planet catalog. You can look up anything you want here, anything. Fixed stars to planets and points and trans-Neptunians to asteroids and centaurs. Loved it, okay? So that's where that is, but I already know there's no place you can only print. There's no place you could copy, but you can't save it there. So I thought, okay, so we go back. At the very bottom, okay, is the interpretation files. So I push. All of this, okay, all of this can be edited. And it's all in sections. So you would go in and you could, again, then it's available for print. But you see this? This is all, see that? You could just add something if you want. Okay? They didn't do, they did semi-squares, which I thought was really cool. They didn't really do what I call the inconjuncts, which are these two. Okay? But they did it for, and this is directed to natal aspects, which means it's a transit that you're going through. It's a time that you're passing through. But you can interpret it. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go into my asteroid list. I'm going to edit that file. That file shows up. I'm going to go to where I have a little bit of an issue, which is my Pythia and Ornamenta. Okay. And there's Pythia. And there's where I made mine. Now, if I were to take this out, okay, and I'm just going to take it out just for the heck of it. I would then go back up here. I would save it. I would get out of it. I'd get out of this. I'd go back to my catalog. I would then pull up Pythia. And there it is. It's not there. It's gone. Okay? But I want it there. So I'm going to go back. Everything I do on this video, I'm going to go back. Okay, so now I'm going to edit that file. I'm going to go all the way down to Pythia again. Because I'm going to have to go through all of these eventually. But since the majority of them have MLW on them, I know I don't need to touch those as much because that's the way I use them. And you can see there's a lot of MLW. Okay, so now I just need to go a little bit further to Pythia. I love that it's also all in alphabetical order. It makes it easier to find. Okay, and there it is, all back the way that it was. And once this is done, I always want to make sure that I save. Go back to my interpretations. Go back to Pythia. Nope, a little bit further. And there it is. Ah, I just love that. So I hope that you're as excited as I am and that this is helpful to anyone who is either considering this software or has begun using it. Then the other thing I wanted to show that I thought was so exciting. I did a whole video on sums and formulas, but in this software, you can create your own. So we're going to do a sun, midheaven, because that's a personal point. So you would have a bunch of those. You could keep adding. But I'm going to do a different kind of one over here. I'm going to do Chiron. Let's do Chiron. And let's put it with, so beginning of turning points, because we're looking at a full moon. It might be really interesting to know, when do the turning points begin to happen? Beginnings of turning points, add. Now I've got 2 turning points, okay? Two midpoints. 2 midpoints. They're there. They're on outer circles, so you can't bleep on them. They won't come up, okay? You can only do that for inner. There you go, okay? Now, if you can't see real well, because there is also a degree point here, 13 degrees of Cancer, and I believe this one's 15 degrees of Capricorn. They are in opposition. It's just interesting. I chose 2 points that were running in opposition. But what I'll do is I'll go back here and I'll select my asteroids again. I'll clear them all, get them out of there, make it cleaner, and you see them. There they are, okay? Now, here's another point. I added this. So let's go back and look. I didn't take it off from the last video. What I did was I took Urania, and I'll just show you how I did it. Urania, which is going to be added to Apollon, which is business, astrology, business. And this is work and goals and focus, Vesta, which is the minus. You see that? I could name this, which would be, it would come up here because that's what these are. Okay, there are other points that can be used. You can hook them up, put them down here. You can name the points to save them. And that is, oh, I didn't save it. That was my fault. I do want that. Okay, so I'm going to add it to my list. Oh, it came off anyway. So we have our 2 midpoints. Now I want to select A, and I want to choose this. I want this to be at, so this is my, so first of all, let me do this. Let's start over, just so that we even know how to do this. We'll go to Urania. We're going to add it to Apollon. So I think what I'm doing is messing around with the program too much. Now I'm screwing everything up. Okay. And I'm going to grab Apollon for business. There it is. I'm going to grab Vesta for work, okay? And I'm going to add this to my list. There it is. So I'm going to add it, put it in there, and there it shows up, which, by the way, is a very important part in my chart. So hopefully that means good, even though it's in retrograde, I hope it means good things, because 4 degrees, 13 minutes of Aquarius in my chart is a very active point. But isn't that incredible? So we have 15 degrees, 17 minutes for a midpoint. You can do this as much as you wanted to. When you're finished, if you decided that you want to start all over again, all you do is you can either remove one of them or you can remove them all. Okay? And you can do the same with the formula, where I can then remove it. But you see how easy that was? No, I'm not saving changes. I will later because that is an important point for me, but for right now, I'm going to leave it. See, we have a little lag here. It's still there. It's okay. That was something I took out, and then we're going to go back. Oh, it's still there. Sort of like the way I had a little ghost of Cirrus there for a while. But in any event, I'm not going to concern myself with that. Here, what I'm going to do, see if there is a way to, oh, it's still there. That's what the problem is. It didn't remove it right. Okay, that was me. Now it's gone. So here I'm going to show a final point of what I wanted to say. And this is something that is just between 2 different points of 2 different kinds of astrology. Oh, we have a siren. Hold on one moment. So we're going to take all of them, okay, because I work with them all, add them in. And again, it's very small. It's very difficult to read. But I started to put it together that it is not 2 ring based. This is 1 ring. So if I pull up solar fire, there's 2 rings. You see how there's 2 rings? Well, the same as Janus, only the first ring works. The second ring does not, which means all of the asteroids do not work. See, on this program, look, even the preview does not show the extra ring points. Extra ring points are things that you add. This is related. You could change what you wanted in your ring points. You can even edit what's in there. See, we put the glyphs in, but that is a different part of the program, and that is something Janus doesn't have. They do have an extra ring point, but they use it for all that really cool stuff that I was just doing. So again, I like being able to see my asteroids this way, but it almost makes me okay with these little guys. And by the way, you could add in these as well. You could add in more lines. But isn't that incredible? So I was so excited about this, I had to jump on and talk about it. So I don't know if that was as helpful to you as it was me, and I hope that it was. But really exciting stuff. And believe me, what I discovered today, you do not have that kind of interpretation in the solar fire. Yes, you can edit what's there, you can add in, but you do not have that option with your asteroids. You do not have your centaurs unless you went in and manually plopped them into the software. So I was really excited about that, and I just had to share it. So thank you for watching this video. And if you will, comment. If you know more and you'd like me to look at other things, even if it's solar fire, I would love to do that. I want to educate as much as possible when it comes to astrology, and that includes astrology software. And I was really excited about Janus today. So hopefully you will be as well. Thank you again. And as always, take care, be well, and until we meet again, I wish you only happy reading.